Mangrove biocenosis. On the shores of many tropical coasts grow amphibious forest ecosystem called mangroves. These very particular plant formations are found in estuaries, in sheltered bays, and on many coastal areas located downwind, wherever the coasts are flat and the bottoms are soft. The biocenosis of mangrove consists of halophilic trees adapted to grow in shallow water on substrates composed of fine sediments and with variable but often high salt content. Mangroves developed in the area between the main level of low tides and that high of equinox tide. There is always a strict zonation in the distribution of species conditioned by the gradient of increasing salinity and decreasing water depth. Mangroves reach their maximum of differentiation in the Indo-Malaysian and Northern Australian regions. Those in northern Queensland, there are about 30 species of trees that can exceed 30 meters in height, distributed by the sea towards the land in 5 zones, quite distinct. At the greatest depths of water, we find the grove of Avicennia marina and Zonariata, then a grove of Rhizophora mangrove. Finally, in the highest parts, a grove of species Herithera and Xylocarpus sp. refined with certain taxa of the humid tropical forest. Due to the instability of the substrates on which they grow, mangrove trees have a set of adaptation of their root system in order to increase their stability. In particular, the stilt roots of the mangrove. Other species such as Zoneritaria have root adaptations that caused pneumatophores to emerge from the water to facilitate aeration of plant tissues. The detritus resulting from the accumulation of dead leaves in the benthic muds of the mangrove plays an essential role as a major energy input in the food webs of the consumers of the aquatic environment of the mangroves. The considerable vegetal productivity of the mangroves is the origin of an important secondary productivity of the aquatic food web. Several species of crabs with very large populations of Uca sp., for example, live in the mangroves and directly consume the fragments of the dead leaves that fall from the mangroves and other trees that make up the aerial part of this ecosystem. The same is true of various species of saprophagus fish and the shrimps of the Pinneidae family. Leaf fragments and other plant debris are also colonized by bacteria and fungi. The latter also developed from the particulate or dissolved organic matter of dead leaves. There is thus a bacterial loop in the waters of the mangroves, which is at the origin of the trophic chains compressing at the intermediate level protozoa, then small crustaceans on which the microphage of predatory fish feed. Finally, planktonic or benthic microalgae develop in the waters and serve as food for mollusks and other algivorous species. The high biological productivity of the mangroves is also reflected in the accumulation of a considerable biomass of invertebrates on the submerged parts of the root systems of the trees, constituting the most amphibious groups. Mangroves, due to the considerable trophic contribution they make to the marine waters closest to the shore, play a very important role in fisheries, indirectly or directly, since they serve as nurseries for the young ecophases of various species of crustaceans decapods, such as the prawns of the Pinnaid family, some species of which, such as Penaeus monodon, are sold in Europe as prawns, as well as fish of the great importance to tropical marine fisheries. We have thus been able to show that they are at the origin of the tropic webs of the large tropical predatory fish, tuna, swordfish, marlin, by following the development of the numerous species of Clopidae, whose adults who live in large shoals offshores are prey of this super predatory fish. Mangrove forests grow tropical and subtropical latitudes because they cannot stand freezing temperatures. Many mangrove forests can be recognized by supporting roots that make the trees appear to be standing on stilts above the water. This tangle of roots allows the trees to manage the daily rise and fall of tides and slow the movement of tidal waters. Mangrove forests stabilize the coastline by reducing erosion caused by storms, surges, currents, waves, and tides. Mangroves protect water quality by removing nutrients and pollutants amounts of storm water run off before it reaches seagrass beds and coral reef. Mangrove pit absorbs water during heavy rains and storm surges, reducing the risk of coastal flooding. Mangroves provide nursery habitat for many commercial fish and shellfish, and those contribute to local seafood abundance. Mangroves protect the species that underpin a $7.6 billion seafood industry that employs 109,000 people in Florida. Mangrove systems provide shelter for a range of wildlife, including birds, deer, and honeybees. Mangroves serves as nesting areas for coastal birds.
Any artificial reef designer should learn a lot about mangrove ecosystem